Sleep till I come home. Dream of something sweet. I won't be there soon to wake you so discreet. Sleep till I come home. Dream of something sweet. I'll be there soon to wake you so discreet. Winter sky, the sun. Doors
Hey guys, this stream will be starting in just a minute. Going to show you all of the beautiful letters and how you draw them. It's going to be super duper freaking amazing. Stay tuned. Just waiting for a few more people to show up and then we can get started.
to wake you so discreet.
Oh. What's up? Hey guys, my name is Dina Marie Rodriguez and I am the creator of Lettering Adventures. I'm so excited to do this live workshop with you guys with this new royalty-free playlist, so that way you guys watching in the future can listen to music and learn, and I won't be muted. Yay, internet. So, what's going on? How is everybody doing today, both now and in the future? Sorry for the mishap earlier this week, having to reschedule the live stream. I was pretty upset about it myself, the fact that I made you guys vote on what was the best time to do the live stream, and then my internet was like, no, fuck you. So, we have a very good reason for that. We were just messing with too many of our network settings because we installed a new alarm system in our home because we're going to be going out of town. And it's really cool. If anyone comes into our house, it notifies the police, but also all of the alarms go off, the lights flash, and we installed a video camera that also shows up on all of our TVs. So we messed up a bunch of stuff with our network yesterday while Rick was doing that, and that's why we had to reschedule the live stream. So this is actually my second to last day here in Portland, Oregon, before I fly off to Wisconsin for a few days to visit family. And my husband-to-be's sister just had her first ever baby. So we're gonna go hold the baby, do all the normal things that adults do about babies. I think it'll be pretty cool. So this stream should be a little bit over an hour long. We're going to really quickly go through the both uppercase and lowercase versions of this worksheet. If you guys have already started, awesome. Better practice, better. Right? So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So, I went ahead and I laid out this workbook a little bit different. You still need an alarm system. Everyone should have an alarm system. I think once you start to buy some legit electronics in your home, it's time to get an alarm system or up your renter's insurance, whichever one is better. I've actually been talking in front of my computer all day today because I also had to record another vlog that will be coming out soon, and I'm using my Logitech C920 webcam. So my face looks fucking way better. It looks like I have perfect skin. I don't really understand why this webcam's better. And I discovered that my webcams are actually better than the actual internal camera inside my computer. So that was something I learned today. So you'll actually see a hell of a lot of difference in the next vlog when it comes to quality. So that's gonna be really cool. Okay, so let's shake it out. Let's work out. Just dance for a second. Turn the music up. We're gonna do some exercises. Are you ready? Not those kinds of exercises. All right, we're gonna do some hand exercises. All right, what kind of hand exercises? Let me show you. We're gonna do the fist release. Are you ready? Okay. Put those fists in a ball. Clench, 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 clench. Release. Put those fists in a ball. Release. Do you know what's gonna happen now? Yep, you're gonna put your fists in a ball. Then you're gonna release. This is like turning into jazzercise because of this song. Alright, now we're gonna do finger touches. I want you to take your pointer finger and I want you to touch your thumb and then do it with the rest of your hands. Do it to the beat. Alright, faster. So it's good hand-eye coordination, especially if you're working digitally like me. Now backwards. Alright, shake it out. Alright, now just crack those wrists. Do a couple of roundabouts with your wrists here. You probably hear my wrist cracking just a smidge. Now do the bitch slap. Go up and down with your wrists. Yeah, like that. And then you go left, and right. Alright. We're all worked up. Let's get started. Okay. Let's draw the letter A. Alright. This is gonna be fun. Okay, so like any other piece, let's go ahead and make sure I'm using my brush tool. As always, I'm using AstroPad, an amazing app. It's only $20 ever to screen mirror Photoshop to my iPad Pro. I'm using an Apple Pencil with a case on it that just makes it thicker because I think the Apple Pencil needs to gain a little weight, that's all. Alright, so let's go ahead and do our skeleton. Start with this left part. Curl it around town. Take this guy, hook it up. You want it to be straight and then curve. Alright. And then go down. Now, it's up to you how thick you want your A to be. I'll probably do something like this, where we're adding weight. Any stroke that goes down is thicker than any stroke that goes up. So when we're adding weight, we're gonna do stuff like this. A little bit of weight on that right stem, and a little bit of weight on this side. And I almost forgot, our tittles. If you think it's easier to include the tittle in the skeleton like the worksheet shows you, awesome. If you'd rather do it during the weight section, that's cool too. The reason I think I showed it to you in the skeleton form is so that way you guys could figure out the style using just the weight of your pencil. Don't forget our crossbar. Then we do our serif. And then we color it in. Because usually coloring it in is really the only way to make sure everything's even. I always have to add weight and erase, add weight and erase. And I wanted to do something kind of more fast-paced today. Just so we can get as much practice done as possible in the time that we have. Now, notice that my A is not as italicized as the original. That's something that's pretty hard to do, I would say, just off the bat, to do italicized letters. So if you're like me and you have an issue with it, I'd super recommend just doing it the normal way, and then using the skew tool in Photoshop to then make... So if I go to transform, skew in Photoshop, I just go to this upper level right here, and then skew it, if I wanted to. Undo that. Just because I think this A is really bad, I'm gonna draw it again. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, you definitely have to draw this one first, and then you can draw this one. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Maybe I'm thinking about this all wrong. I'm trying to think of many different ways to draw these pieces. Like, what if we did weight and then we just did left to right, or right to left first? That'd be kind of crazy. What, could that work? Oh my god, that could totally work. That's funny. So yeah, if that's easier for you to draw the A that way, cool, go for it. Add weight. Whoop. Lowercase a. You want to try to do a shape like that, so go ahead and do that. It actually came out really good. You just do the first part, have it kind of curl, and then you want to do almost like an 8. Like a little pot belly coming out like that. Add weight. Let's go ahead and add the tittle at the end. This guy should be thicker. And adding weight. If you guys want to go ahead and lightly fill in your letters as you draw them, feel free. As we continue, my lettering and your lettering are naturally going to get better. I don't think I've drawn all day either. So that's probably why they're coming out extra funky. Alright, let's check out this B. Let's go ahead and start with the skeleton and attempt to do italicized on the first try. Let's go ahead and do a slant. And go ahead and take this curly dude. Boop. You want to pay attention to your bowl size ratio, especially for this style. The first bowl should be shorter and wider than the bottom bowl. So we go ahead. Have it pretty much more or less aligned to that X height. Go ahead and do the bowl again. Notice that this bowl is slightly wider than the top bowl. Then we can go ahead and add weight. Since this stem is going down, it's going to be thick. And so is this part and this part. So, to help you eyeball it, you can go ahead and put a line like I did here as an example of where that weight should go. Feel free to do it at the top and bottom. and then just connect the dots. To add a serif, I usually just always add a line and then have it go up. Super fast. Now try not to get discouraged if your letters aren't looking as good as the one in the example. Don't worry about it. For me to do the examples, I had to redraw them several times in order to get them just like that. So don't feel bad. I can't do it either. All right, go ahead and draw a stem, an italicized line for the stem of the B. Add a slant. Let's go ahead and do that bowl. Now notice that my bowl goes a little bit up, so I don't actually connect that bottom of my bowl to my stem. I actually go a little bit higher. I give it a little bit more space. And then I can go ahead, add weight. Again, if you would like to put a nice little line to indicate where your width goes, highly recommend it. And there's a serif at the bottom and at the top. Now the C is a little tricky. So what I like to do is I like to put little points. The top of my C is probably gonna go somewhere about there. If I look at the example, this top portion goes a little bit past the bottom. So if this is directly underneath it, then it means I need to go a little bit right there, if that makes sense. So I go ahead, do my bowl, have it go slightly above, and then have it go down to that extra line, like so. Then, same thing, if you want to mark where your weight is, go ahead and do that. Now this guy's gonna have a little tittle coming out. This top serif for the C can be a little tricky, so I'm gonna super zoom. Now notice that it's more like a this shape. So it goes up, and then hooks, and then up. So it goes hooks, goes down, and then up. I think I'm just going to watch this time. I tried last weekend and I got stuck on how/where to start the letters. Okay, that's fine. Whatever you think is the most easiest thing to remember for yourself. All right, let's go ahead and redo that top serif. You lick up, you go down, and then you hook back into it. Now, I personally find it much easier to go ahead and draw a letter and really quickly and then refine later. Now, if you're the kind of person where you'd rather just take your time at each one of these steps and really make sure that everything is in the right spot and all those things, great. If that's something that you prefer, feel free. I just think it's very unlikely to get it perfect. That is the biggest difference between lettering and calligraphy. Calligraphy you get right typically at the first try, or you just redraw it multiple times until you get it right. Where illustration, which is lettering, is more erase, draw, erase, draw, erase, draw. It's much more having to do with refinement, which is great for those of us that can't nail things on the first try. So I would go in here, probably make this smoother, come in here, make this wider. So that way, once you have something on the paper, it's easier to refine. Just like how if you have a trouble kind of writing, it's sometimes easier to do a brain dump of information and then edit versus just trying to make everything perfect in your grammar 100 as you're drawing or writing. All right. All right, little C over here. Same thing. It's a little bit of a slant, so that top goes a little bit wider than the bottom. Go ahead, add the tittle, add some weight, and have it go up. I'm using a pretty wide brush just so I can do this faster. So that one's a little bit easier. Now let's go ahead and do the D. Again, start with a slanted stem. You can go ahead and add the bowl, which can be a little difficult. So if you want to go ahead and give yourself another guide like this to figure out how wide that D should be, go for it. And then that D came out a lot better. Then go ahead and extend that loop. Add weight to the stem because it's the thickest part because it's going down. Add a little note for yourself to measure the weight. Go ahead and add the serif. Add the tittle, but the terminal. Then add a little bit of weight. Quickly fill in so you can see your mistakes. And dance. As you do it. Dancing is key. Cool. Now, one key that you might have noticed that instead of having my D be sharp, by having the weight just go like this, see how sharp it is here? Where I actually curve it into each other. Actually do something like this when I'm adding weight. So that's something you can keep in mind with this style. Alright, same thing with the lowercase d. Go ahead, draw a slanted stem. Just like the B, we're going to go ahead and go a little bit. You need to have, you don't want your D to start like this, because then it's going to go too high. You want to start a little bit below that X height and then go slightly above and then back up. So you have a little bit of space in both those little crevices in between the bowl and the stem. Go ahead, add weight. Such a messy D. This time we have the serif pointing towards the inside. This is definitely one of those things that is more of a stylistic choice. So if you prefer this serif where it's just on the top and bottom, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not wrong or right or anything. I just chose to have it go in, just on the left, to kind of give it more of a stylized feel, and then having this one go out so it's mirrored to each other. So going to the E, same thing. Let's go ahead, do a slant. We're gonna do our crossbars. Okay, you wanna make sure that that center crossbar of the E is shorter than the top and bottom. We're gonna go ahead and add weight on the left-hand side. Now this is the easiest way that I think to do an E. Now if you're the kind of person where you'd rather just leave it like this and do it on the inside, you're more than likely going to have to extend these lines more. So it just depends on how much weight you gave your E the first time you drew it, to whether or not it makes the most sense to add weight on the inside or the outside. Go ahead, add weight on the outside. Have this link. You can add a little serif line. So I always like these live streams because I can show you different ways of doing the letter, just to show there's more than one way to draw. But no matter what, you always usually want to get the skeleton in there just as a base for your work. Now notice, same thing, we want to kind of curl in these edges. We don't want them to be perfectly cut or chiseled. We want them to be kind of rounded. So when we add weight to these E's, we kind of follow that same kind of movement. And then this serif just goes slightly out. And so does the bottom one. The bottom one is typically bigger than the top. Then we just kind of add some weight to the serif and have it. Oop. Boop. Made mine a little bit too thick, that's okay. I definitely recommend, as you're learning any style, just be a little bit more rough with it. If you find yourself finding it really difficult just to do perfect straight lines, there's nothing wrong with you doing this, being more scratchy, if that's something that makes you feel more comfortable, especially if your hand typically hurts after a while. Because then I could definitely see you doing something like this, just a little scratchier. Sure, you'll have to erase more, but that's not the end of the world. Whatever makes you more comfortable, just kind of building in that muscle memory to help you memorize the style and add it to your bags of tricks. So obviously my first letter is way less messy than my second, but just saying there's more than one way to do something. Go ahead and erase that guy. All right, let's do that lowercase e. You want to start somewhere about here for that crossbar in the lowercase e. Go out. Ooh. Now what I'll do to add weight is I'll do this. So I'll do that again. I added weight on the right side. I go all the way up, and then I added weight like that. And I just added, I want to add a little bit more weight to the fins. So you're just using building blocks here. As long as your aperture, like your negative space right here, is wide enough that you can actually see it and it doesn't look too enclosed, you're typically in a good spot. All right, so let's go ahead and get to this E. We're whizzing by this. This is a pretty simple style, but it still doesn't mean that you can't take your time by still going through the worksheets, making sure that you trace it, and then you draw it from reference, then draw it from memory. So same thing, do a slanted stem, and go ahead and do your capital F, and then your crossbar on each side. Same rules apply with the E. This top crossbar needs to be wider than your middle one. I keep lowering my keep lowering my microphone. It's like, Dina, you are bouncing. Okay, here we go. Okay. So adding some weight. So again, just trying to get those basic shapes in there. This usually follows the same axis as your stem, where this guy, this serif, kind of points in the opposite axis at a 45-degree angle. Then we have this guy. Woo. Now, this little lick is really whatever you have room for. But keep in mind, this definitely is not a style that you want to do in all caps. That I will say. You definitely want to use a title case style. I made this way too. There we go. That's another way you guys can go ahead. Now notice that the style does call for rounded serifs versus squared off serifs. So if you want to go ahead and just draw your line and then just kind of do like a little oval, nothing wrong with that. Or if you're just using a rounded brush of any kind, both traditional or digital, it'll just automatically make your serifs look rounded. Alright, let's go ahead and do that lowercase f. Just do an upside, little candy cane like shape. Trying to make it slanted so it's on that same axis as the rest of the letters. If you want, you can go ahead and add your terminal, like a little teardrop. Then have it kind of come down. It's not quite wide enough, so I'll add a little bit of weight on the left-hand side. Then I can just go ahead and add a crossbar like that. And the same thing with the serif, and go ahead and just do another little oval thing. So let's try to make that, let's try to do it again, this time making it far thinner. I think it was in the example. Here we go. Pretty similar. All right, we just whizzed by this first worksheet. Now let's go back into it and kind of refine it. And and I think everyone should just get in the habit of, if you did something wrong, go ahead and add some notes to kind of help your eye better understand what you did wrong. So this guy obviously needed to be wider. This space needed to be bigger. This could have gone out further. Could have added weight here. So just really try to look for things like, is the axis, which is that italicized motion, are those all the same throughout your styles? Do you have an even amount of weight both on the thick sides of the letter and on the thin sides of the letter? And also if there's just any glaring mistakes, like this guy isn't straight. This should have been wider. Should have been like this. So I could have had a wider, like, see how wide this is compared to what I had? The C is pretty good. I could have made it a little wider, just make it a little smoother of a letter. The D is pretty good. This guy was a little bit too wide. Just so you guys can start to proofread all of your lettering projects as you work on them, versus like only noticing them after the fact, after they've been on your grid on Instagram for 6 months. So this guy was just a little bit too wide. Should have been like right about here, which makes sense because then these top and bottom would be more aligned. Should have rounded off this guy more, and this E isn't italicized. Smaller serif. And then and that's the better F. So whether or not you're just using a different colored pen or pencil to go ahead and make these markings, or if you're like me and you could easily just switch the color in Photoshop, it's something that's definitely worth looking into. All right, that is the first out of 4 pages we're gonna go over. Let's go ahead and move on to the second sheet. And at any point while I'm talking, even though there's only a handful of you guys in here right now, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll definitely review anything. If you guys are watching this in the future, you guys can definitely just go ahead and reply back to this post on Patreon to ask any questions you need. I'll be more than happy to help you, especially if I skimmed over anything too quickly for you. All right, let's switch this back to black. Let's get into the G unit. All right, so same thing, better and easier placement for your G. You want to go ahead, maybe, come on, Astropad, you got this, buddy. Start it right here. This serif is right here. Something like that. Now it's just like, kind of like when you're trying to use reference to draw like fruit or a person or really anything. Sometimes you kind of put these little dots on your paper to help you figure out the alignment. It's the same thing. So this is the top of the G. This line is the serif of the G. This little bowl is where that bowl of the G would be. So let's go ahead and connect the dots. Start here, do a nice big round bowl, have it go up like that. I'm going ahead and adding this lick and have it hit a line. Go ahead and add a teardrop to it. Add a little mark of, depending on how thick you want to make this G. This part, I'm using that connection as the center point to add weight, because this is going down, so it would start to be thick and then thin out as it went down. And I'll zoom in for that serif because it's a little tricky. This top serif, again, it hooks up and then goes in like that. Go ahead, add your serif. If you want to go ahead, smooth out any lines. That's cool. There we go. Pretty stellar looking G. All right, now let's do what's called a double story G. All right, so you just start out with an ellipses. So again, you want your ellipses to kind of start slightly above the top of your baseline of your piece. Then it's going to go a little bit above your X height. So go ahead, draw a little circle. You're gonna draw an ear, which goes right along that X height. And you're gonna take this guy. So I'm gonna do that again. You have it lick like this, like a little curve that goes right along the baseline. And you have it go out, and then it creates another ellipses diagonally. Now, if this doesn't look exactly like the example, that's totally fine. All right, now we add weight. Again, just adding marks to mark the thickness. Adding weight to everything else that's thinner. So it almost looks really alien, kind of like just chilling by itself. So sometimes it will take a couple tries to get it just right, but that's pretty good for a first try. I would say the most important thing to the style is not only having a varied weight, but really making sure that these terminals pop out, like really making sure that the ends are thicker, almost like a drop of water coming out of it, and then before they go back in. Another thing about this G is I really want to make sure that this negative pocket is right in the center of it. So sometimes it's just easier to erase some of that excess. All right, let's get into that H. Pretty easy. 2 slightly tilted H's. Depending on how wide you made your H, you might want to add them on the inside or the outside. You pretty much want your negative space to be something similar to this, even though I'm having a hard time matching up my lines. There we go. Let's go ahead right along. We're gonna do a super high crossbar, which is right along that X height. This bottom, we're gonna do kind of like a bridge. So instead of following and making that bottom line parallel, we're actually gonna go ahead and do like a little bridge. Boop. Let's add those serifs. Key, you really want to make sure that these serifs, especially things on like an H, do not touch. If your serifs are touching, it's gonna make your work look really, it's gonna be really hard to read. So have this guy have it lick out again. Do the little teardrop. Fill in. Go ahead and add weight to those serifs. Cool. Alright, same thing, lowercase stem. Just like the B and the D, you want to add a little bit of weight, so you want to start about there. Again, you don't want to start right at the crossbar, you want to start a little bit before. So this one goes up, and then it looks down. Now I'm going to add weight on the left-hand side. Then I'm going to go like this. And because this is going down, it's going to be a little thicker, and then as it goes up, it thins out. Stylized serif. See if I've ever drawn it again. I wonder if I draw it this way. If I draw the weight first, I could probably make this H a little bit more condensed. Yep, that worked. Alright, I'm just curious. What if I did it this way? Cool. Alright, pretty easy. Licks are my fave. I know, they're the best. That's why I knew you guys were gonna vote on this style after I went ahead and posted a bunch of different kinds of 70s lettering styles on Patreon. I was like, oh man, they're totally gonna fucking love this style. Alright, let's do that stem. Go ahead and just add weight to it. Lick it out. Bottom serif line. Have them pool into each other. And let's add weight to that line. Boop. It's getting a little simpler. Now again, if you want to soften up these serifs, just add a little bit of weight to them. And have them kind of curl into each other so they're a little bit more rounded. Lowercase I, pretty simple. Diagonal line. Add weight. Line for your serif. Serif only goes on the left-hand side. Draw your tittle. Your tittle usually goes right above your stem, and you want to make sure that your tittle isn't too much bigger than the actual width of your weight on your eye. All right, go ahead and connect those guys. Again, if you want to make it rounder. Boop. Boop. Looking good. Okay. Let's do this J. We're gonna do a tilted all the way from the top to the bottom. Then add a little teardrop terminal at the end of that J. Add some weight. As she goes down, boop, it curves into it. Let's add that line for the serif. Add a little bit of weight. Boop. I notice just as we've been drawing today, your letters and probably my letters and probably everybody else's letters are looking a lot better than the first sheet, and that's pretty expected. Unless you've been drawing all day, then you're golden. Just adding a little bit more weight where I didn't before. Just like this amount of weight needs to match with this amount of weight, you know? All right, lowercase j, same tilted axis, this time starting from the X height all the way down to the extra line. Let's add weight. Boop. Serif line. Tittle. Have that curve in. Fill it in. Now it's up to you how, like, if I had another letter right here, like let's say I had an I, then this spacing would be pretty perfect for how that J kind of like perfectly loops the I. So as far as like the angle that this J loops, it just completely depends on whether or not you want it to be more customized or if you want it to be more condensed like the example. Add a little weight, just like we did with the big J. Cool. I like this K just because of the balance that it gives. My boyfriend's singing and playing guitar. We're supposed to go to this Christmas party at his work that's actually starting now. But I thought doing this workshop was more important than a Christmas party. And they overworked him just a little bit too much. Like he was supposed to get all this stuff done before our vacation. So we'll see what ends up happening. All right, let's go ahead and do this K. Diagonal axis. Go ahead and have this arm go up and have this bottom one. Again, the trick of this leg is to have it almost aligned to the top of that stem right here. Let's go ahead and add weight. Add weight. Add weight. Serif. 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 Building it block by block. So with this one, I probably should have just put the arm a little bit higher and draw it again. So it should be right, like almost just barely below that X height. Then have the arm go out, and then same rule applies for the leg. I made this way more italicized, but that's okay. There we go. And then I already put another one there, so I'll just put it there. Let's see what it looks like back to back. It's like so crazy, like just like a fraction of a centimeter off of placement, like totally gives lettering a completely different vibe. Oh, I'm gonna check out the serif. Ooh. Yep, that looks way better. So it's just like raising up that arm, just like what, like a hair or two, just to make it a little bit more cool looking. No, like I said earlier, Nicole, it's just, it depends on, it's a stylistic choice, for sure. I've seen this style used where it's just like a normal serif that's both on the left or the right, and sometimes it's just on the left. It just really depends on what you think looks better. There's no reason, but I think the main reason people don't put serifs in certain places is if that serif is going to run into the next letter. So I think it really just depends on when you're actually using this style in like an actual phrase or word, just depending on how much negative space is left and whether or not you have room to put a serif on both sides. Yeah, it just wants to be unique. All right, let's do that lowercase k. Diagonal K. We go way lower on this guy, like right about here for the arm. And then the K tail licks outward. So I'd probably add weight on the left-hand side. Add some weight here. Have my serif, then I have my leg a little bit thicker, but I still want to make sure that I have a nice gap in between my leg and my stem here on my K. Yeah, it depends on what room you have, exactly. Cool, 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 cool. It's me and you, Nicole, me and you. Alright, add those serifs in. Boom. Flying by. Alright, let's do this L. I'm going fast, especially since it's just me and Nicole in here. So if more people were here, I'd probably go slower, but since you guys are going to be most likely watching this from the future, you guys can rewind, scroll through it, find the letters that you were having the most hard time with, and review them as necessary. Okay, so diagonal line for the L. I'm going to go ahead and just add weight from the get-go. I'm going to do my L. Filling that in, adding the serifs. Adding weight to the fins. Then adding a little ball to this serif down here. Oh yeah! Look at you, sexy L. You sexy thing, you! High five. High five, Nicole. Alright. Lowercase L, diagonal line. It's pretty much just a thick line with a serif on it. I like the lowercase L's because it looks like a 1. Just looks like a 1 to me. Alright, this M is pretty tricky and I did not have enough space in this worksheet to show you all the steps, so I'm going to go pretty slow on this particular letter. Okay. Are you ready? Okay. So, let's start with the left. So let's start with this lick. Alright, we'll start with the left other lick. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and extend this line and go down. Now what you might want to do at this point is just add weight as you go. So this line goes down, therefore it is thicker. Right? Then this line would go up, which would be thin, and then this line would go down. So it would be thick, serif, serif. The key to this letter is it's going to take a little bit of finessing, but that's okay. But you really want to make sure that this V that's in the middle of the M, and I made my super wide because I was like overcompensating, but you really want to make sure that this V is directly in the center of these other two stems. See how this piece of negative space is really similar and close in ratio to this pocket of negative space? That's key to readability in an M. And then we can go ahead and in here and add the serifs and weight, all the cool stuff. You also want to keep in mind of where you're adding your weight. If I were to add my weight on this side, it would give it a completely different vibe and would look more chiseled. And also, if I go on this side, it's going to make that pocket of space smaller than this side. So these are the things you really have to keep in mind. So don't just be adding space. You really want to be thinking about why are you adding space in that particular spot. And let's round off these serifs and have them bleed into the stem more. So they look closer and like more like best friends. It's so weird having all these cranial accessories. Rick went ahead and bought me these headphones for Christmas. They're pretty cool, I like them. But with these glasses, ouch. You ever have like just something, I mean, if you're a woman especially, you just have something in your closet that is agonizing but it looks adorable? That's what these glasses are. Alright, go ahead. Diagonal line for that lowercase m. Again, same thing. If you have difficulty adding a skeleton and then adding weight, I'd highly recommend adding weight as you go. So let me zoom in here. So what you could do is just add a line, add some weight, add the serif. This is especially a lot easier if you keep drawing it with skeleton, then adding weight, and then your serifs keep running into each other. It would just make sense to, okay, I'm going to do this piece, and then I'm going to curl it, then add weight like this. Add a little serif line, curl it again, add weight, add a little serif line, and then just adding a smidge of weight to that fin, curling up those serifs. They bleed into your stems. Boom. Looking good. Oh my god, we just whizzed by that. That's what's up. We went total fun for Christmas. Got the Nintendo Switch, Zelda, and Mario Kart. Oh shit. Gaming it up, Nicole. Yeah, our present is just to go on vacation. That's mostly what it is. Alright, so let's go ahead and grade our sheet. Now this sheet, compared to this sheet that we already did, look at the difference. Look how horrible this A is. And how bad this sheet was. And then the second time I'm doing the sheet, it's getting a little bit better. It's starting to look more like the style. You should probably notice the same thing for yourself. Alright, go in here. This G, I pretty much like, I actually like the G's the way they are. The H's, this is definitely the better one. I like the I. The J is fine. This is definitely the better K's. I like the L. And I think I think both these M's just could have been a little bit more condensed. Like if I had just taken them and just squeezed them, just be a little skinnier, I think they would have been a little bit better. All right. So let's try to rock out the rest of these letters, even though we're hitting almost our hour mark, but let's try to get through it. Okay. All right, so with this N, go ahead. Oh, let me switch my color. Boop. Just go. I switched you out. You're not listening to me. Okay. All right, take this N. Just go ahead and just start to lick it. Lick it real good, and have this top one lick. Then you guys can go ahead and do your diagonal. Same thing, you can go ahead and start to add weight. I typically always use the middle line in my N as the center point when adding weight, so I'll do that again. Mostly because I added too much weight. This one kind of goes out more, and then I add weight. Boop. Add that right piece, add a line for my serif, then I can just go ahead and add weight. Alright, lowercase n, diagonal stem. Go ahead, if it's easier, add weight. Add your lines for your serifs. Start a little bit under that X height. Pull it over and have it lick. Add your little terminal. Again, it starts out pretty thick and then it thins out as it goes down and curls to the right. Then add a little weight to the serifs. Round them out, whatever you think looks cute. Alright, looking good. We're killing it. Alright, O's. O's are tricky. So again, these are diagonal. So instead of them being right underneath the top and bottom points, maybe slant them a little bit, right? Same thing if you want to mark the sides of where, just the top, bottom, and sides of where the O should go. Just go ahead and connect them. Now, it's pretty normal for your O's to have to gangster lean a little bit. I had to redraw my circle a couple times just to get it round like I want it. Same thing. Add little dots and indicators where you'd like to add your weight and connect the dots. Isn't this the best royalty-free music you've ever heard? I might just always make these videos not have music. Just so you guys can listen to your own stuff. But if we can all dance together, why not? Alright, so that's my O. And then the key here is, and I'll do this in a different color just so you guys can see. So you want to almost like put your... That is not... Come on, baby. So you want to like start here, and then have it curl up, and then over. Just to try to make sure that that line actually matches up with the line of your oval. So you actually see I actually start and draw over it, and then I curl it into like that. And of course, the angle and all the stuff and the length of this lick, it's cool. All right, you like it, Nicole? Okay, good. It really depends on what letter's underneath it. All right, same thing with the lowercase o. Top, bottom, sides. All right, top, bottom, sides. It's just a normal O. There's nothing too special about it. All right, let's get into that P. Diagonal. Add weight. Go ahead and do the bowl. I probably have it go like a little bit, not quite at the halfway mark of the space between your X height and your baseline, but a little bit higher. I even think what I just did was a little bit too low. There we go, like that. Same thing. Mark where your weight is. I did like an oval inside of it, just so these lines would kind of curl into each other a little bit more. Adding those serifs, round them out, adding weight. Oh yeah. It's like the messy version of exactly what I did. Yes! I'm getting better with every single letter. Alright. Diagonal lowercase p. Going from the X height to the extra line. Doing this bowl all the way right to the baseline. Oh, I didn't mark my weight. That's probably why that came so weird. Doing an oval in my P. Adding some weight here. Adding my serifs. Made this a smidge thick. There we go. Nothing a little move over can't fix. Alright, all the way at the Q. Same thing as the O. Again, you want to mark the dashes of marking the thickness. And you connect the dots. to help you with your O and your placement, especially if it's italicized. Same thing. Mark the weight. And then erase anything that looks crazy. Just trying to make this ellipses kind of match. Kind of went a little fast. Alright, there we go. Coming together. Alright. It's bumpy, but the skeleton is there. And then the Q, similar to how the O kind of licked above, now we're gonna lick below. So I'll switch my color out again. You wanna start right here. You wanna put your, and then have it curl, and then have it go out. Just to make sure that that loop that you're adding actually makes sense. Okay? Switch that back out to the normal color. So starting a little bit here, following that line, curling, adding terminal. When you're adding weight, I definitely recommend going above it, just so that way this little gap can be as big as it can be. The smaller that gap is, the harder it is to read that it's a Q. So they're just adding weight. Boop, boop, boop. All right, let's get that Q, just a backwards P. Add your diagonal. Make sure that this line goes a little bit like this. That you have a little bit of space between your X height and your baseline. You have like little gaps. Go ahead and finish drawing your ellipses. Add some weight to your thickest parts. If you want to put a little dot to better help you put that weight in there, go ahead. And add weight to your thins. And go ahead and add those serifs. Boop. Killing it, I'm killing it, I'm killing it. Alright, let's do that R. Capital R, diagonal. Probably just gonna add weight to it. Add the curl. Add the serif line. The bowl, it drops just a little bit below that X height right here. You want to mark your weight, just like that. Now, this leg of the R, again, just like the K, it should be coming from this top left corner of your stem right here. And then go down and then loop. So it'd be like boop, 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 boop. Just make sure that this guy is thick. So just use that line you put in there as your middle point to add your weight. Make it a little bit thinner. There we go. Again, as long as you have a nice gap right there, you should be in pretty good shape. Let's go ahead and lightly fill it in to make sure that our weight in our stem is the same weight right here in our leg. In this bowl. Add some weight. Boop. I really am a big fan of this lowercase r. So we do our diagonal. We add weight. Okay. Nice little rectangle. Then we do like almost an ear, like we did on the lowercase q. A little bit lower, like this. And then it just turns into a drop. And then it kind of goes slightly above the X height. And then curls like this. So I'll do that again. Goes up. And it arcs like this. And then you add your serif. And I put the serif just on the right side because I don't think I had room next to the R. It's pretty cool. I think I put my ear a little bit shorter. Let's go ahead and redraw that. It needs to go a little bit above that X height just for it to look right. So let's go. There we go, like that.
Yeah! It's looking good.
Alright, this S, like all S's suck. It just sucks. It just sucks. Alright, ready? Just draw like you're going to draw a normal S this time. Instead of it just going to the cap height line, you want to go to the extra line. Just draw a normal S. Come on. And then you just have it kind of go like that. This is really hard to do in the first try. Okay, so you have your skeleton. And you want to go a little bit above and a little bit below that spine. Oh, hey! What's up, Em? How are you? Thanks for tuning in to my live stream. Yeah, I remember some older books with this font on the covers. I love the little differences like that are, yeah. It's sexy. So I go ahead, I have my spine, right? I add weight a little bit above, a little bit below the spine. So I go like this. Whoop. Whoop. Like that. This guy, since he curls into itself, I do that after the fact. And then this guy has a little tittle. I'm just gonna fix that bowl a little bit. Wasn't quite as round as it should be. Lightly fill it in. I always find it easier to go ahead and add weight to the thickest parts first, and then go ahead and add weight to the thinner parts. And again, we're going for quick and messy. We don't need to make this perfect. Just kind of trying to build up that muscle memory. Boop! This music. So I think my S this time was way better than this S. Just saying. Just saying was better. Also, I'm a big fan of this style S for the capital letters too, but I wanted to show off that other version too. It's just like a bigger version of this lowercase s that just goes to the all the way to the bottom. So adding weight. Try and make sure that I don't touch the ends of my S. Add the terminal like a little teardrop. Boop. Add the thickest part first. And then if I want to go ahead and add weight to my thins, doing that, but making sure that it stays consistent with the top and bottom. Just like that. Just like that. Oh snap! Last letter of the page! Only one more page to go after this! Holy shit! Alright. Diagonal stem. Add weight to the stem. Fill. Just because we have to go ahead and put this crossbar right and make sure that the stem is in the direct center of that crossbar. So, go ahead and do a lick. Whoop! Then we can go ahead and add the tittle. And to add some weight. And since this line goes down, it's a little thicker. Just a little bit thicker. Just a little bit quicker. Boop. Let me just add our serif. Boop. Round them out. And have them lick into the stem. And then you got the little T, 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 T! Alright. Can you tell I'm in like a weird caffeinated mood? Yeah, you can. Okay. This guy, we're just gonna have him be a little bit higher than the X height. Tilted axis, gonna do a little upside down candy cane like shape. And then I'm actually gonna do this. We're gonna do like a weird 4 pattern. She's not listening to me. You're gonna go like this, and then this. You're like, what? Oh, try it. And then add weight. And this guy is just like a little bit of a crossbar, and you add a little bit of weight. Boop, boop. Try it again, because we made our little dude a little bit too candy cane. Shorter candy cane. 4. Have it stick out a little bit more. Boop. Getting closer, Dina. Boop. There we go. Yeah! Okay. Grading time. Alright. Go ahead and pull up a different color. Review your sheets. see all the beautiful things that are wrong with it. Thank you, I just thought of it just now. Alright, let's check out these ends. I made this guy a little too thick. Should cut him off right about there. O's are fine aside from their bumpiness. P's are cool. Q's, this side's just a little bit uneven. Actually like this Q better than this Q. Do I know why? Because you could see the cuts in it more than I can on this side, so that's kind of nice. R, yep, I'm fine with the R. S, actually like my S is better, and T's are good. Wow. Alright, look at the difference. I'm just gonna keep doing this because I think it's interesting. First page, not very good. Not very good at all. Second page, getting a little bit better. Third page, oh fuck, there's barely any red marks. Look at those red marks. The red marks, there's less as we get to our final page. Pew pew pew, final page hype. Alright. Let's get into it. It's the last few letters. I believe in you. Let's get this shit on real quick. Alright. Is the music hyping you up? You feel hype? Okay. Mr. U. Let's get into you. Alright. Same thing. Oh, let's make sure I'm using the brush tool. I need the brush. Okay. So these are diagonal. Let's go ahead and mark the width of our U just by putting little dotty dots in there. Boop. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of weight on the left and a little bit of weight on the right to add weight. Making sure that I have a U shape in my U shape. Take this guy, curl it out. Add my lines for my serifs. So hyped. Shut up, Nicole. Go ahead and add some weight. Fill that sucker in. Add your rounded serifs. Make sure they bleed into the stem. Add weight on the left-hand side. My U shape isn't as predominant as I wanted it to. I think it's because I should have gone a little bit lower. Yeah, just like a hair lower on that baseline because it's a bowl. I think that's what my brain's like. No! There we go, that's better. Alright, so just like what the little tricky doodah that we did with the, what was it, R? The lowercase r, we're gonna do it with the U. So if you want to mark where you want your U points to be, your stems of your U, go ahead. Draw your U. Make you have a straight line. Notice the cut. We're gonna go like this. Add little fours. Then we just add a little serif. Now, if we hadn't put that cut, then this little section where everything kind of crosses over would be a lot more like, oh. That's why we do that. Fill it in for our thicks, and then just add a little bit of weight right here. And it's usually gonna go a little bit below, whoa, wrong tool. Just kidding. A little bit below the baseline. Boop, boop. And then you add your little rounded serif. I made mine a smidge too wide, but that's okay. But you get the gist. Oh my god, just 2 more letters left. I'm so excited. Okay, V. I think it's easiest, instead of you guys just doing this and then adding weight, I'd probably recommend just adding one line, adding weight to that line, and then going up. So I added like a little bit of a cap on the bottom, and then I went up, and then I add a little bit of weight here. Then I can curl this guy into itself and add this serif. Oh yeah! The wrist hurts. I haven't drawn at all in like 2 weeks. My wrist is like, what have you done? I did exercises before. There we go. It's a pretty sexy looking V. Just make sure that there's no corners. I'm just gonna roll this into it. Boop. Alright, same thing with the lowercase v. If you prefer, whatever version is easier for you, go ahead, add that left stem, add a little bit of weight, cap it, have it go up and curl. And then you got your serif. So this guy can just go poof. Oh, the W. Like the M is so difficult. Alright, so same thing we're gonna do with the W. We're gonna do our left stem. We're gonna add a little bit of weight. But instead of us going like this, up, we're gonna place another diagonal line here. And add a little bit of weight. And then this line, instead of it actually meeting up at this point to this point, you're gonna go a little shy of it, like right here, and then go down. So here, to make it more precise, let's add a little bit of the cap, and then go ahead and connect those dots. Same thing, add a little bit of the cap, and then connect the dots. Then we can go ahead and finish off this guy. That way, again, our V inside of our W, this space and this space are equal. And then we just go ahead and add weight to our thins. And that way, everything's equal weight, our negative spaces look the same, and each of our stems are far away from each other where they're not actually touching. And then we can just add our little lick over here. And then just fill it out. Oh yeah. Alright. Lowercase w, hype! Okay. Same situation, but smaller. Add a little weight line. Cap it. Go. Oh, whoa. No, just kidding. Go diagonal again. Add weight. Cap it. Connect. Cap it. Connect. Add serifs. Boop. Add weight and fill in. Oops, I did that the wrong side. Get those serifs in there just right and pretty like. Now it's up to you if you want to like make these rounded, depending on what style you're going for. It might make sense to round them off, or maybe not, just depends on your preference. Alright, 3 more letters to go! Okay, X. Go ahead, draw the X. Your center point should be somewhere right below your X height. Now, use this left line and add a little bit of weight below and above it. Like that. Then add your serif line and curl it. There we go. Fill it in. Slant that X a little bit. And add in those serifs. Serifs are sometimes weird in X's, but just try to smooth them out as best as you can. Now I think I made my cross a little bit low, so I wonder if I would have done this first, if that would have made a difference. If I went ahead and added weight first, would I then have an easier time putting this somewhere? Nope. Oh, there we go. That solved it for me. Alright, so whichever version you think is easier. Okay, this is more similar. I mean, it's thicker, but it's a little bit more similar with that V shape than the X. Alright, same thing with the lowercase. Let's go ahead and do it the new version. Go ahead and add weight right off the bat. Add your cross. Add lines for your serifs. Just make sure your serifs aren't touching. Go ahead and cap them off. See, it's not too hard. Once you like get into like the vibe of it, it's pretty good. Alright, 2 more letters. Ah! Alright. Y's are a little weird. Okay, so let's try 2 different ways. And remember, it's italicized, so this actually is diagonal, it's not straight. So I usually add a little bit of weight on top and below of both lines. Like that. And then add serif lines. And this guy. Whoop. Add a little bit of weight. There we go. Sexy Y. Alright. With this Y, completely different process. Draw the diagonal, add your weight line, and then add your lick. I typically can't draw the lick, like the terminals, as I draw the skeleton for this particular one, so. Then draw the serif. Fill that sucker in. Add some weight. Boop. See? Getting closer and closer with every letter we draw. It's like pretty verbatim. I mean, obviously the line work looks redrawn, but it's pretty in the same placement. All right, last letter. I'm so excited. You're almost complete. Almost complete. Almost complete. Almost complete. All right. All right, let's do you. All right, so there's 2 different ways you can do this. You could just do the normal way, or you do the skeleton. Add a cap, and go a little bit above and a little bit below your middle line. And then add your serif. It just goes up. It kind of adds a cap, and then it kind of goes into itself. So that's one way you could do it. You could also do it the way where you just go ahead and add weight to your diagonal first. And then cap things off as you go, whichever one you feel more comfortable with. Obviously I rushed the second C, but either or is fine with me. Same thing with the lowercase c, same process. You can cap it off, add a little bit of weight on the bottom and at the top. Have it go out and then in, out and then in. And there you have it! Boom, 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 boom! Killing it, killing it, killing it, killing it, killing it, killing it. Alright, final grading. Switch out those colors. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong. I would say out of all these letters, the only one that I'm like, grrr, is this W just needs to be slightly thinner and it needs to rotate. The lines are too straight. It needs to be more tilted, like more like an italicized version. Same thing with this V, just like a little bit like, but nothing I couldn't fix in Photoshop. So yeah, and other than that, it's looking pretty good. All right, guys, that is our workshop pretty much in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed this super quick, fast, awesome workshop. Again, if you guys have any questions about anything that I went over just now, feel free to leave a comment either directly below this YouTube video or below the post on Patreon. I hope it's been helpful. I'm excited to see what projects you guys might make from this, especially since it's Christmas time. I've definitely seen more than one version of A Christmas Carol in this particular set of type. So I definitely think there's a bunch of different options you guys can play with when using the style. Just keep in mind, when you are doing the entire word at a time, you may want to go ahead and do a skeleton and then build weight and then do serifs like we show in the worksheet. Doing these letters one off, the process kind of changes because you don't have to worry about your letters running into other letters. The letters are just independent and by themselves. So that is something to keep in mind. And that's why I taught the worksheet the way that I taught it. And I do actually do multiple worksheets every month, and I pick the one that makes the most sense to me. And so I do put quite a bit of work into these worksheets. So I do hope they're easy to understand and you guys have just a ton of fun with this particular style. So Emily and Nicole and anyone else who came in during today's live stream, thank you so much for taking time out of your Friday night to hang out with me, and I will see you at the next live stream. Something to keep in mind is I will be officially on vacation. My shop will be closed. My email will be turned off. I don't know, probably just put a vacation alert on that sucker, and won't be available for posts anything from the next 10 days. So tomorrow, again, if you have any questions, cool, we'll totally respond. After that, it might take me a while. You might have to wait until I come back to Oregon, most because there is literally no internet where I'm going off the grid. That's what's up. All right, guys, thanks so much for hanging out during today's stream. See you on the flip side. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and all the things. All the things. All the things. My display capture's all the way over here. Where are you doing? What are you doing over there? All right, bye, guys. Have the best holiday ever. Try not to work too hard. Love you. Bye.